If you're a content creator and you're struggling with connecting with the audience through your videos, then you might want to watch this tutorial. Hi, my name is Ayan, and if you haven't seen my last video where I talked about how Claude AI was coming on top of every Gen AI tool, then I recommend you go watch that, because I basically talked about and shared how Claude AI was becoming one of the fastest growing LLM tools out there, and every single person I see on the internet, on YouTube especially, is using it for creating content. If you've been struggling in connecting with your audience through your videos, then in this specific tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can create and prompt Claude AI to be your own real scripter. So this tutorial is for those who are wanting to create more short form content than long form content, just because it's much more easier to create. So I'll be sharing with you all the prompts that I use to create the real scripting AI in Claude, and how you can also create it yourself through the steps that I use. So in this case, if you want to follow along in this tutorial, then every single part, every single prompt will be in the description down below. So go ahead, check it out after this video, and let's get straight into it. So here we are on Claude's interface, and as you can see, it is basically the same as every other LLM tool. You have your chats on the left hand side, you have your main area where all the magic happens, your text box. And the cool thing about Claude is that it has, you could say, a lot more features than what Gemini and ChatGPT has. So if you look down here, you have all these different tools you can use, such as strategize, write better, learn, even code as well, and you could say live stuff. I haven't really tried that, but sounds pretty cool. And over here, you can also select which type of GPT you want to use, because they have different types. So right now I'm currently using the Sonnet 4.6, which is the most efficient when it comes to normal day-to-day tasks. And even when you're trying to create your own real scripting AI, this is what I would set it to. So I wouldn't change anything on the database here or in front of, so I wouldn't change anything in terms of the settings for Claude AI. But over here on the left hand side, you could see that I have the real scripting AI, and I've basically prompted Claude in such a way so that whenever I ask it to create a real script on any specific topic, it will create it for me without sounding like it's a robot. So that is what we're going to be doing today. So again, if you want to join in and follow along, then go ahead to this website, claude.ai/new. Come over to a new chat, and this is where we'll be doing all of our work. Now, for this process to be as explicit and as efficient as possible, you will need two more resources that I will have in the description down below. One of them is the viral hooks template. It has all of the viral hooks that every single top creator uses and has been using for the past while to get millions, even thousands of views as well, consistently. And number two is the real scripting template, which is also in the description down below. That is basically how we're going to structure our reels, and is basically, if you look into it, is how every single creator writes and structures their prompts and their reels for virality, if you want to say. So those are the two things you will need, and you will of course insert them in add files. When you press add files, you'll insert them in. But for now, let's focus on the prompt. So like I mentioned in my free generative AI course, if you haven't watched that, then I would recommend you watch it. Again, it's in the description down below. But I specifically taught you how to prompt each and LLM properly, and the focus and the structure is like this. So you have define, you have explain, and then you have resist. All right, I'm not going to go through it again, just because I've been through it so many times. So if you haven't, or you don't know the structure, go ahead, watch the course, and you'll know all about it in a few videos. But for now, we'll go through the same structure because Claude works the same way, and we'll start writing our prompt. We're going to define what Claude is. So first of all, we're going to say you are a professional social media marketer and content creator with around 10 plus years of experience creating content for your own account and for other creators' accounts. Now we will also specify how it's doing itself. So in this case, we'll say you have helped creators like, let's say, Alex Hormozy and MKBHD, and what are some other V and etc. grow to more than 100k to 1 million followers or subscribers on different social accounts. Now we've defined who Claude is by these few sentences we've written. Now we're gonna give it some context about why we need Claude's help. So we're gonna say that I have been having trouble in getting engagement in my reels, and the most difficult part in creating Instagram reels, for example, is the scripting part. I don't understand how to engage my audience through my script and my copyright. Since you are a content creator, like mentioned before, so we've given it context as to why we want Claude's help, and now we're going to give it a bit more information about who we are, what type of content we create, and such. So let's say, for example, we're in the fitness niche and we create content about fitness, about gymming, nutrition, such. So that is what we're going to specify in the next few paragraphs. So in this next paragraph, I've sort of specified who we are. So I've stated that we are creator, fitness creator under 1,000 followers, create content about nutrition, gymming, valuable exercises, and also break down myths about exercising. And our goal is to increase our following by 10k by the end of the year and be able to get brand deals, right? So now we've specified who we are. So whatever content idea we give, most importantly, Claude will be able to nurture that idea into our own niche, if that makes sense. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna give it steps as to how we want our reels to be created or written. This is where the two resources come in handy, the viral hooks template and also the reel scripting template as well. So I'm gonna just mention that in here in the next paragraph. By using the resources given in this chat box, in this chat. So in this next paragraph, I've mentioned that we need to use the viral hooks template and also the reel scripting template. And by using those two templates, I want Claude AI to make us a reel script about which foods are going to help us gain muscle mass. And by that, it's, of course, we're going to ask it to do some research because we don't want to give fake information. And on top of that, we want Claude AI specifically to use a hook that is right for this video, so that we don't want the viewer to scroll away. And while the viewer is watching, we want it to use the right CTA or call to action, so that inevitably when the video is closing or coming to an end, then the viewer has no choice but to follow the account. So those are some of the precautions we need to make. And lastly, of course, it's so important to mention what you don't want Claude AI to do, because the more restrictions you give it, the more accurate your results are going to be. So in this last bit, the resist bit, we're going to mention what we don't want Claude to do. So what I'm going to say is do not in caps. So this last bit, it doesn't have to be very lengthy. It's sort of bullet points that you need to portray for Claude AI to understand what you don't want. So I've just written, don't generate a script that sounds like AI or AI slop. Don't generate a script that's fake, or don't generate a script without using the templates that I gave you, and don't generate anything but the words I'm going to say in front of the camera. This is the whole prompt that you're going to be using for this reel scripting AI. And what we're going to do now, lastly, is we're going to paste in our files. So I'm going to just do that in a few seconds. Okay, so I've pasted in the two templates, and now all we have to do is click enter, and we'll see the whole magic happen. Alrighty, so it just took a few seconds and it's already generated us one script. So just by looking at it, this is your hook. Bro, you're not building muscle because you're eating wrong, yada yada yada. I used to train 5 days a week. So what we've done is, and if you look through the scripting template that I have used, you'll know what structure I've said or what structure I've portrayed in that document. So it's sort of gone hook, authority hook, main stuff, and then finally your call to action. Now, when I look at this, this isn't perfect. When you observe the script that you see in front of you, this looks quite long for a Instagram reel. Looks around 1.5, maybe 1 minute 40 seconds. So what we're gonna say is, can you reduce the length of this script so that the final video ends up to be 30 to 40 seconds max. And as you can see, the CTA is sort of long. You don't want to have a very long CTA. So what we're going to also mention is, can you also keep the CTA to 1 sentence only? So of course it's not perfect. You have to adjust it based off of what content you're making and how you like your own scripts. So in this case, this is the new version now. Bro, you're not building muscle because you're eating wrong. I trained 5 days a week for 3 months and looked exactly the same because I was only hitting 80 grams of protein a day. So here's what you actually need to eat. Whole eggs for Leucine, I don't know how to say that word, which triggers muscle growth, rice and oats to fuel your sessions, yada yada yada. And if we look at the CTA, follow me if you want more of this. No fluff, just what actually works in the gym. Right, so this last bit I would remove. No fluff, that's not really what a normal human would say. So what I would say is a few more adjustments need to be made, and hence we can say, can you make the CTA as if a human is talking to the camera and without using a double dash line. Righty, so this new hook that they've given, it's sort of like as if you're talking to a bro to bro sort of style. So, and look, if you want more of this, just follow me, bro. No fluff, just real stuff that actually works in the gym. So in this case, you have a whole script based off of what content you're making. Again, every single person that creates content differently, and their scripts will be very different to yours. This is what I would usually say on camera, but if you're someone who's a bit more novel, who's a bit more formal in their scripts, then you wouldn't probably say something like this. You'd probably be a bit more conservative of the words you use. So in that case, you will have to adjust your prompts a little bit. But this base prompt that I gave you up here, you can absolutely use this. You can copy paste this if you want into Claude AI, and no doubt that the initial version it gives you will be good, but you will have to make your own adjustments as you keep creating content. But that was it for this video. If you really enjoyed it and you think you learned something from it, then go ahead, like this video. And if you want to see more content like this, where I show you tutorials about different AI tools, then go ahead, subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't seen this video right here, then go ahead, watch it. It's a huge video, and I'll see you in the next one.